Hello and welcome to this episode of Hospitality Tech Talk brought to you by Maestro PMS. I'm your host, Michelle Dawn Mooney. This is actually the first episode in a special three-part series that we have lined up for you with guest Scott Buelter. Scott is the CEO and president of Ascent 360, where he guides the company's strategy and vision with a mission to bring data-driven marketing capabilities to hotels, resorts, attractions, and property management companies of all sizes through a powerful CDP, which then allows them to better understand their guests and achieve continual growth. With data analysis and digital marketing experience at companies like Nike, Disney, Royal Caribbean, Lowe's Hotels, American Express, and Samsung, he has a wealth of knowledge to pass on. And then there is his academic career. Scott received an MBA from the University of California, Irvine, and a Bachelor of Science in Economics from the University of San Diego, in addition to studying at the London School of Economics and the Institute of Education Sciences in Berlin and Vienna. So quite accomplished. And Scott, welcome to this episode. It's great to have you here. You obviously have a lot of knowledge that you're going to be able to pass on here. So I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to get together and get to talk about some of the sort of key technology topics in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, absolutely. We have so much to get to. I,
Yep.
I said in the beginning of this that this is going to be a three-part series because we couldn't cram it all into just one episode. So I gave a brief summary, but let's start here. Can you let us know a little bit more about what Ascent 360 is and what you do for the hospitality space?
Yeah, absolutely. So hotels, resorts, ski resorts have this key challenge, and that is they know that they want to speak with their guests. They want to know who their guests are. They want to know who their valuable guests are, the ones who come every year. But that's really, really hard to do because all the systems that they use are really meant for transaction processing, right? The property management system, is meant for, getting a room booked. And what they find is that if they've got a guest who comes year in, year out, they might have 3 or 4 guest profiles. If they have some ancillary business like a spa or a golf course or just some sort of, cabana bookings, that's actually a different system that will run those transactional systems. And so if you were to ask, a CEO of a resort, hey, tell me about, one of your great guests who's been a customer for years, they would say, look, this will take me like a month-long project to figure that out. So what we do is effectively solve that guest communication, guest knowledge problem by integrating with all those systems, pulling the data into our platform, cleaning it, deduping the guest so you get this sort of golden record, and then letting us know everything about that guest. So we do know the ones that are your super high value guests that, really are loyal and love you, and then let you communicate with those guests in return.
And Ascent 360 integrates directly with Maestro. So, what does that mean for hoteliers, and what was the catalyst for this partnership?
Yeah, I mean, the catalyst is that, Maestro is a very strong PMS, and it sits in an ecosystem already where, hotels that are relatively serious about, doing a good job, but might have some ancillary systems as well, such as a golf course, right? You've got another partner, Lightspeed Golf, that we integrate with as well. And the catalyst is to say, well, this is actually a really good opportunity to sort of extend Maestro's um, success as being a PMS, to extend it such that now there is a partner that can make all those guest communications much, much easier, and also get that data from not just the PMS, but your other partners as well.
Some people are a little overwhelmed with a lot of the tech talk. And of course, we're talking about hospitality tech talk here, but it can be a little, off-putting here. So for hoteliers who might not be super technical,
Yeah.
how would you explain the way your CDP and Maestro work together and talk to each other?
Yeah. I mean, the good news is that's all totally seamless to the hotelier. When someone agrees to work with us and they use Maestro, all they need to do is get us access to the API, and that's just an approval. And once we are connected in, we take care of the rest. So we don't actually have our clients implement themselves. It's not self-service. It's not like Salesforce where you go get a third party consulting company and you ask them to build all this. Ascent 360 does that all for them in combination with Maestro.
So, what kind of data flows between the two systems, and why is that important for hotel marketing teams?
Yeah, no, it's really very important. So the data is, if you will, everything about the guest and everything about their bookings, past and present. So if you imagine that Maestro might have tens of thousands of guests going back, 5, 7, 10 years for a hotel. And we want to go get every single one of those guests, and that'll be their first name, their last name, their email address, their physical address, their phone and zip code, maybe some preferences around, marketing or SMS or email marketing or something like that. And then really everything about every booking. And that booking isn't just when they're arriving and when they're departing. It's, what group are they coming with? Are they through a wedding, or what room are they going to be in? How many adults and how many children? And it might sound overwhelming because it really is a lot of data that we end up ingesting into our system. But every bit of that data can then be used by the hotel to drive marketing. So you can imagine, if you know the date that they're arriving, you can send a 3-day pre-arrival email that might say, hey, we're excited to have you. Here is, click here to get see where we are in Google Maps. Parking is on the north side of the building. Now that we know that they're actually bringing children, we might dynamically include an offer, upsell, cross sell for the kids club or for whatever kids might be interested in. If in fact, that they're coming for a wedding and we know the date of the wedding because we get that data, we might say, hey, you might want to extend your stay, enjoy a little bit more time here at the beautiful beach or in the mountains or wherever the wedding actually is. So all that data makes for really personalized and dynamic marketing, right? It's really where you get to a place, I want to speak to the right person at the right time with the right offer, through the right channel, and we sort of enable that entire process.
Yeah, time saving, cost saving, because if you are doing blanket ads, as you said, for children's aspects, or maybe something that's more couple related, and you're not targeting the right person, say it's a business person and they don't care of either,
That
then you're just wasting time and money. So it's genius to be able to think of that. So let me ask you this, and last question as we're wrapping up here, because we talked about sometimes the overwhelming feeling of technology. And sometimes people know that something that they could add into their system might be helpful, but then it's kind of a little scary. But what does that look like? So, how seamless is it for hotels already using Maestro to then get started with your platform?
Yeah. So getting started is really straightforward, meaning that we, agree to work together, we get access to the data, and then we build the entire platform. Okay. So now you've got effectively an empty platform for the client. And then they might say, oh, that's a little bit overwhelming. The other thing that we typically do is we help the client get the first few emails built, templates built, or messages. Now, what's true is that hotel might already be using something like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. So we actually just pull over those first couple of templates. Right. Those are certainly nice platforms, but they don't allow for all that data integration, right? They don't have the rich data to know that, hey, this guest has actually stayed 22 nights over their life. And then we actually have a library of what we call plays, but you might think of them as campaigns And all the client has to do is click on one of those and they say, oh, I'd like to do a pre-arrival. And it just guides them through a wizard of ending up sending that pre-arrival or the confirmation email, or maybe, a text message that is sent to them right after they check in at the hotel.
A lot of territory covered, Scott, a lot more that
Yep,
we haven't even touched on yet. So,
absolutely.
all that is going to do it for this part of our special three-part series with Scott Buelter, CEO and president of Ascent 360. You will not want to miss our next 2 episodes of Hospitality Tech Talk, where Scott's going to dive deeper into how hoteliers are using Ascent 360 and, more importantly, the results. A big thank you to Scott. Of course, all of you listening and tuning in, we hope you will join us on the next episode to continue this conversation. And in the meantime, you can visit maestropms.com for more information and to check out additional podcast episodes. I'm your host, Michelle Dawn Mooney. We hope to connect with you on another podcast soon.